Hey, what's going on, family? I'm Angel. This is the Vazquez Report. And for part 4 of this episode, we're going to delve deeper into some truth-telling about vaccines in particular. We've uncovered some information about some studies that weren't released into the public until just recently. What you'll find in this report will shock you. Let's get into it.
Publishing something like that, I might as well retire. I'd be finished.
I mean, I'm just curious. What in this data makes you think it will be as catastrophic to your career as you think?
What was he so afraid of? The study was a bombshell.
18,468 subjects, 1,957 of them were fully unvaccinated. When comparing the health outcomes of the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated, they found an increased risk in the vaccinated of several chronic health conditions.
I want to make something very clear during the course of this episode. This information is not to sway you one way or the other. It's to just give you the facts about a study that involved over 18,000 subjects, 1,000 of them unvaccinated, fully unvaccinated. And the difference between those who were vaccinated and their health as it relates to chronic health conditions and the ones who are unvaccinated. Make up your own mind on how you feel about it.
The vaccinated subjects were over 4 times more likely to have an asthma diagnosis.
4.29 times in the adjusted. And that seems, I've looked at a lot of studies, that's 3.26 to 5.65.
They also found 3 times the risk for atopic diseases,
which is kind of a subset of allergic diseases.
They found a almost 6 times risk for autoimmune disease.
While I have openly been an advocate for natural immunity, it's very troubling to see that vaccines caused an increased risk in these types of diseases, even more so with autoimmune disease. Let's hear these medical professionals list off the autoimmune diseases and their increased risk factors after being vaccinated.
The autoimmune diseases this paper looked at include thrombocytopenic purpura, rheumatoid arthritis, SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus, MS, multiple sclerosis, and Guillain-Barré syndrome. They mentioned there are over 80 different autoimmune diseases, and what their data showed for autoimmunity, 6 times increase in those who got vaccines when compared to the unvaccinated.
Just think about that. A study of 18,000 subjects, only a slight bit of over 1,000 of them were unvaccinated. Yet the ones that were vaccinated, a 6-fold increased risk of catching autoimmune diseases, over 80 disorders. Let's continue.
Which is staggering because autoimmune disorders really represent significant morbidity and health costs and suffering, accrued over a lifetime.
The medical professional pointed out during this video, these autoimmune diseases account for more morbidity and suffering by the people who incur them. Just imagine that. You would have been better off if you never got vaccinated. According to this study of over 18,000 subjects. Let's keep going.
Neurodevelopmental disorders.
What kind of numbers are we talking about? Do you remember?
5.5 times risk for neurodevelopmental disorders.
As you may have surmised from the evidence, autoimmune disease is inherently linked to neurodevelopmental disorders. As you'll find in this clip, as we further investigate these findings of the 18,000 subjects that were in this study, you'll see that the autoimmune diseases and the developmental disorders, neurologically speaking, are interconnected.
We know that the immune system is intimately connected with both brain development and brain functioning. And so when the immune system gets triggered by illness, potentially by vaccination, you can get neuropsychiatric symptoms, presumably related to brain inflammation and, immune processes in the brain.
2.92 times the amount of motor disabilities. 4.47 times the amount of speech disorders in the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated.
As the study findings grow and get delved deeper into what is connected to what, we've uncovered that the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated saw an increase in autoimmune disease that led to neuropsychological disorders, which in turn led to decreased motor function, and also speech impediments or speech delay. Let's keep going.
3 times the rate of developmental delay.
They found the same things I found related to allergy and autoimmunity. Also, 6 times more acute and chronic ear infections.
Interestingly, there were several health conditions where they couldn't even do this analysis because there were none in the unvaccinated group.
This just gets more and more disturbing as we continue with this 18,000 subject study. They couldn't even do the analysis with the unvaccinated compared to the vaccinated because the unvaccinated had no cases of these conditions or diseases. ADHD, diabetes, brain disorders, learning disabilities, tics, and other psychological conditions. I don't know about you. This is a bombshell vaccination study, and no wonder the information wasn't released until just recently. Let's continue.
The way that the mathematical formulas work, you can't have a 0 in any one group and be able to compare risk.
For example, there were 262 children who had ADHD in the vaccinated group. Amongst the unvaccinated group, there were 0 cases of ADHD. 0.
These ones are just mind-boggling. These conditions were not found at all in almost 2,000 unvaccinated kids. 0 brain dysfunction, 0 diabetes, 0 behavioral problems, 0 learning disabilities, 0 intellectual disabilities, 0 tics, and 0 other psychological disabilities in the unvaccinated.
Let's hear Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin read the conclusion of the study.
I'm going to read the conclusion here. Despite this, and in contrast to our expectations, again, the author's expectations was they'd conduct the study and probably find vaccinated people a whole lot healthier than the unvaccinated, right? This is what we found. We found that exposure to vaccination was independently associated with an overall 2.5-fold increase in the likelihood of developing a chronic health condition when compared to children unexposed to vaccination.
Wow, so the doctors who conducted the study thought that they would find that the vaccinated were more healthy than the unvaccinated, when what they found at the conclusion of the study was that vaccination led to a 2.5-fold increase in the possibility of chronic disease. Thank you for participating in this 4-part journey with me for this episode of TVR, the Vazquez Report. I'm Angel. Until next time, peace.